Good evening. We want to welcome you tonight to this awesome event. We are so glad that you came out for this. We're just so happy to see this many faces. You're going to be blown away tonight by Francis' story, and we're just very excited that you're here. A few things I want to announce and a few thank yous I need to hand out there. One is we sold a lot of books. We didn't have very many, but we wanted to let you know that you can buy these from the youth website. That's on some of the flyers that you have. You can get it at Amazon.com. You can also get it at iabolish.com as well. So I highly recommend this book to pick it up and get it. It's very good. Also, we're selling some bracelets we have left over there that say Save Darfur on them. The money for that goes to organizations that's working over in Sudan. We also want to let you know that we have the sign-up table over here. This sign-up thing is for the American Anti-Slavery Group. Want to let them know that you came to hear Francis, but it also gives them an outlet to give you information about what's happening with their group and the things that are happening in Sudan. And also tonight you got a plastic bag. It had lots of treats in it, candy for one, which is always good. But it also has a packet on it that says, "What's next?" That is a thing for you. It is to show you if you are moved tonight and want to get part of this story that Francis has. It tells you what you can do. If you have any questions about what's in that packet, we have an info table, and you can go over there and check and ask questions as people are standing over there, or you can see maps of the area and different things like that. So we have an information table over there for you for that. First, thank you that I need to give out and say thank you to the Dayspring Community Church community for their love, their support, and their generosity. And without them, this would not have taken place tonight. So I just want to say a big thank you to you people. I want to say thank you to Print Masters. They did all the printing for our posters and flyers and inserts in the paper and things like that. And they did a lot of work and gave us a lot of time, so I want to say thank you to them. Please give them a round of applause. There's also some student leaders that you'll see running around in black t-shirts who gave a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of passion and dedication. And so I want to say a big thank you to them. And so give them a I want to say thank you too to the youth group at Dayspring. With their support, their love, getting stuff out in the community and helping set up chairs and giving out bags and stuff like that. So I want to say thank you to them as well. So I just want you to sit back and I want you to pay attention to the things that you'll see and hear. But Sarah Way, a senior at DeKalb High School, is going to introduce our speaker for this evening.
Worked really hard to put this on, and this is just extremely exciting that so many of you cared enough to show up, and so many of you wanted to learn more about the problem. We just wanted to tell you how we first got involved with this story. One of the members of the youth group read the book, saw how incredible this story was, and they wanted to share it with the rest of us. So after the book was passed around and multiple copies were bought, a bunch of us read the book and decided that we couldn't just sit back and do nothing. So after discussing for about 6 months and just working together as a group, we decided that we'd have Francis Bach, the author of this extremely compelling story, to tell his story to the rest of you. So we're really excited that you wanted to come here today, and hopefully what you'll take from this story will be an attitude that you can use the rest of your life. You'll understand his courage and what all he went through, and hopefully this will impact yourself and your community, and you'll be able to tell others about the story that you hear. Thank you so much, and I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Francis Bach.
Thank you, sir. Can you guys hear me well? Thank you very much for your kindness introduction, and thank you to Mr. Mark Clayton for his work that he's been doing. I was impressed when I just talked to him when he was actually picking me up from the airport to bring me here to you. And he told me he read my book about a year or two ago, and he recommended me to come and speak to you in this community. And I want to thank him very, very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. thank you also. Let me thank you. I heard Mark mentions a lot of names, those who really work hard to contribute to this event tonight. I'm not going to actually say the names again, but I thank you generally for your contributions and your kindness to really bring me in this community and dedicate my life story to you, so you can help those who are still in my positions. And I am very delighted to be here with you. First, before I begin to talk to you, I just want to apologize twice. Once, I'm sick. I'm not normal. This is not my usual voice. I have been having bad flu because I've been flying out and in and all different places where weathers vary, actually, and I get sick somehow. But again, so I'm very glad that I made it to come here and speak to you. And I hope you will be pleased with me to listen carefully when I begin to tell you my story as an ex-slave. Number two, why I apologize, because I had been in this great country for only about 5 years and some change. So I've been learning English within a period of 5 years I've been in the US, so my English is not so good. If I mess up, please forgive me for my grammar. Once again, I want to thank all the young people. I want to thank all the kids who come with the parents and kids who really took the time from the evening church and come to take this message and talk to other friends who could make it. I also want to thank very special people, very, very special. And you will be surprised. When I was welcoming today along with Mark, there was some other students, but I could see some of them here with IFI shirts, which black shirts. You know, I wish I could write all the names down, but again, I thank all of them. They were welcoming with a surprise and big, banner was my name, show, and they say Francis Bob, welcome from, which is this one, I think it was this one. Because my attorney told me there was one person who can welcome me from the airport, which is Mark. But again, I met 5 or 6 students along with them, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I want to thank you for the wonderful thing that you do. And again, you are indeed the backbone of this society. And that's why I speak strongly to the young people. I have spoken to distant high school and colleges and university kids. I will tell them this is your responsibility. You're the one who's going to serve this society. The degree or high school diploma that you're working on is not yours. It's for all of us. It's also for those who are still in my positions. And I am very glad that there are people like you who are really willing to contribute something as individuals. Thank you. Now I would like to step back to really describe to you my enslavement of how I get captured to slavery and how I escaped. And my journey to this country, United States of America, in 1999. That began in the year 1986 when I was 7 years old in my former country, Sudan. One day when my mother asked me to go to the local market to sell eggs and beans with a kid from the neighbors. She talked to one of the girls, I still remember her name. She was about 15 or 16 years of age. Her name is Nubol. She told her, Nubol, go with Francis and watch him from the market, from leaving the eggs and beans and go play with our playmates in the markets. We took a trip to the markets, which is about 5 miles walk. And usually in Southern Sudan, people walk. 5 miles, 10 miles is simple. For 7 years of age of 5, they can walk because we do not have transportation. I was so excited, very excited, because my mother never sent me alone to go to market to do anything. But that day she chose to send me because she trusts me. And I was very excited, and I can't tell you how happy am I before my life changed in the next 2 hours when I took a trip to the markets. When we got to the market, and to give you the picture of the market actually, because when I say market that I mentioned twice, a lot of you maybe thought that like you have big mall who own a lot of bunch store. Now it's different. People gather underneath the big tree. That's where they sell and buy, and after they finish, they all go back to where they came from. There are small shops, but not as this huge building that we have. I heard mall has all the kind of stores. When I got there, we sat underneath the big tree, and I was sitting next to adults. And the people who were sitting next to them, I heard them talking. They were saying that they saw smoke. and they point towards the village that we came from. They also were saying that they heard gun shooting. And I wasn't aware what these people were talking about until when I looked behind me. And also I saw some other people still leaving the markets. And I saw a lot of horsemen and camelsmen coming towards us, rushing. People who have the same dress, rub their heads and have thing we call jalabia. These were Arab militia from northern Sudan came to the market. They all stoned the market, they started shooting people immediately. And I saw the men and women and even kids on the ground. When I looked at these people, I thought they are alive. But unfortunately, these people were shot immediately. All I could see is blood running, like small water, like water in small rivers. I was shocked and surprised. I was very confused. I didn't know what to do. I stood up. I was trying to find my way to run, and the girl who my mother talked to her were trying to run too. And one of the horsemen ran after me, and he grabbed my hand. And he was speaking to me in a strange language I couldn't understand. He was speaking in Arabic, and I didn't speak Arabic at that time. He dragged me, and then he put me with the kid ready to be captured by their colleagues. And I saw them destroying everything in the market. And they were shooting the men, and they were collecting all the women and children together. Until after they destroyed everything, they marched all the way to the north. And I witnessed a girl be shot on the way because she'd been screaming all the way, and one of the militiamen told her to stop. And she couldn't stop. And the guy just took her out of the group, and he shot her on the head. When I witnessed that again, I learned to be quiet. I said, I don't want to be killed. Until we were divided up to militiamen on the way. And I was given to a guy named Juma Abdullah. When I first arrived in Juma Abdullah's house, he called the whole family to meet me. I remember he sent in 3 children, and they all started beating me and shouting, calling Abid, Abid, and Abid meaning Arabic black slave. I even see him and his wife participating also, saying Abid. I was crying in the moment where kids are beating me. Until 2 or 3 minutes later, I stopped. It was hurting a lot, and I could see blood bleeding from me. But I was very upset, very angry why these people watching 3 children and not helping me. Until when the kid got tired, their father told them to leave, and he actually asked me to follow him using sign language because I didn't speak Arabic. And of course, also he doesn't speak my native language, which is Dinka. I followed him, and he saw me a small shelter that close to the animals. And I wasn't surprised to see him having lots of animals. Because my father, who was rich with the animals too, my people, they are the cattle people, Dinka people. And he has a lot of cows, and a lot of horses, and camels, and goats, and also sheep. He told me to remain there by myself. He talked to the kids. I even remember the very first day his wife came named Howard, and she stood up in front of me, saying that if my husband would allow me, I would shoot you. She said, I would rather have an animal that I can have in this house. She even wanted me not to look at her when she's passing by. I had to look in a different direction. Sometimes kids come and beat me for no reason. My master come to me saying that I can't complain to him, and I can't fight back. And I was very surprised why kids also don't come and play with me. They only come and beat me. Who told them all these kind of differences? I was very angry of this family. But because I knew I was in a strange place with strange people. And I knew at that time I'm not going to live my life as when I was with my family, who really loved me, and especially my father, who always carried me, on his shoulder, taking me to his friend's house. And while he's doing important thing, he invited me to stay with him because I used to share my big dream with him when I was young. I would tell him that I want to be like him one day. He gave me a nickname from 8 children that he made me #1 kids, because my father has another wife with another 4 children. And my brother and I had 2 sisters. And my father actually made me #1. He called me Muchaku. In my native language, Muchaku means 12 men. Because I used to tell him that I want to be like you one day. because people in this community call him Ajak in my native language, and Ajak means rich man. And he helped people in the community, and I said, I want to be able to help people in the community one day like you too. And I want to have everything. I want to help my country, all this big dream I used to tell him. So when I were taken away from him and from home family, I used to cry all night and all days. Until one day I said to myself, no matter how hard I cry, these people, they're not going to help me. And I knew they're not going to help me because everyone hated me. Every one of them hated me. They fed me once a day. That's when they want to. They forced me to eat something that I don't want to eat. And I used to refuse sometimes, but of course you can't survive without food. So sometimes I forced myself to eat in order to survive. I was actually forced to attend the cattle, to goats first. When I say goats, it's not 2 or 10 or 5. I'm talking hundreds because you can imagine how rich people with the animal in my country. And this guy had a lot of goats, and he sent his son riding the horse, just watching me from escaping, and then he allowed me to do my work by myself. Sometime when we came home, he talked to his father that I refused to listen to him, and I never refused because he carried the gun. He carried the gun. He told me everything. I ran all day in hot sun with no shoes on. From morning to evening. When one goat is 2 or 2 are missing, I always get beat up. My master will threaten me, saying that if you attempt to lose the goat again, I'm going to kill you. He said to me, the purpose that I brought you in this place is to work. So you don't have to complain to me, whether you're sick or anything. No complaints. And I said to him, yes. And I've been sick quite a few times. He can see it or smell it, but he never cares. Because he said to me, I have no excuse for whatsoever. I wish I was told, like now I'm sick by because when the goats 2 or 3 are missing, they force me to the place the grass are taller than me, and I can't even see them sometimes. And that's the reason they beat me. And when I say that, he can still smile to me. Because it doesn't make sense to him. Until when he saw me doing good jobs, he immediately switched my job to take care of the cattle. A lot of cows sometimes mix with the camels, and camels are lazy with the cows. And I had to deal with that by myself. Sometimes they had to force me to stand on the line for a day or 2, because there are some seasons. Sometimes you can't easily find the water for the cattle or camels. And you have to stand on the line in the river, where actually small river, where a lot of people come with all different animals. And even when I do that, my master never said thank you to me. He never appreciated what I do for him. He's still going to beat me. He's still going to call me a beat. And they're still not going to feed me the way they should feed someone who really do a good job like I do. And I was very upset, very, very upset. I used to say to myself, one day I'm going to ask this guy why they treat me the way they do. I did. What I did. I like to listen to them carefully when they speak in Arabic because they never thought about teaching me to speak Arabic or to read it. Only one thing I heard from him when I first come there, he told me to join them on praying. When they pray, they told me to pray. Even I don't know what to say, but they asked me to pray because they told me something Arabic is haram. Haram means shame, to be with someone not Muslim. You can't touch hands, and even though I don't read them even, I don't shake hands with anybody. So that's the only thing that they asked me to do, but they didn't really want it to teach me to read and write or speak Arabic better. And I listened to them carefully. Within 9 months, I learned Arabic a little bit. And one day when my master came to me to bring me something to eat, and before he returned, I asked him 3 questions. And one of the first questions I asked him why they called me a bead, black slave, and why they forced me to sleep with the animals, and why nobody loves me. He was just standing next to me. He didn't say anything, he just walked back and grabbed his stick. And he started beating me instead. And then he said, "Do never ever ask me this question again." And he left. Until 2 days later, he came to me and said, "The reason we call you a bee, black slave, and force you to sleep with the animals is because you are an animal." That's what he told me. And that hurt me a lot when I heard that telling me that I was an animal, because he knew that I wasn't animals. And of course, I am not an animal, I am a human being. That's hurt me. I began living with him double life from that day on. I do my work, I force myself harder and harder. Until one day when I reached the age of 14 years, 7 years working with him, I actually first decided to escape. I left the cows nearby because they usually wake me up around 4 in the morning. And I just run because I didn't know my way or where to go. And someone just saw me, someone knows him. And he actually brought me back. And my master started beating me, and he actually threatened me by saying that if I attempt to escape again, he would kill me. And I said, "I'm not going to do it again." But in my heart, I didn't give up. I said I'd rather die than be a slave, because I hate the way they treat me and also the way they treat other slaves. I met a lot of slaves, a lot of boys and girls. And I remember one time when I met with about 4 boys at the river where we take the cows to get water. And I greet them in my native language. Kada mean hello. Not one of them responded to me. I repeated 2 times, and not one of them responded to me, until one of the boys came towards me quickly, saying that, please, do never say to us hello in Dinka, because we are not allowed to speak in our native language here. And it's also dangerous. He said, "We just met you by chance, and we're not talking in Dinka, we're speaking Arabic. So I'm warning you, when you see us next time, please, just speak Arabic, because we don't want to get in trouble." And after that, I said to him, "Sorry." And I said, "This place, no matter how long I'm going to be here, these people are not going to allow people like me to be free. So I rather escape again." And I made my second attempt just in 2 days after the first attempt. And I fell again. My master heard my step when I was leaving early in the morning, and he allowed me to walk about a mile, and then he came after me, riding the horse. And he got up on his horse, he didn't say anything. And then he grabbed me, and then he tied my hand, and he started dragging me, bringing me back. And he started beating me. I thought I was going to die that day. And after that, he said, "Tonight will be your last day on the earth. I'm going to shoot you." All his family watching me. His wife is so happy. Everybody happy. I see them all smiling and laughing. And I was bleeding. And while he was speaking to me, saying that tonight will be my last day, I just closed my eyes and I said, "God, please don't let him kill me. I love my parents and I hope in the future." So he actually left me there tight, my hands and my legs both. And then he came back later and released me by condition, saying that if I try to escape again next time, he's not going to talk to me, he's just going to shoot me. And when he released me, to be honest with you, when I try to get up, I can't even get up. I keep falling down. And I'm glad that I'm okay today. I have nothing. I can walk like anyone else. And he said, "If you try to escape again next time, I'm going to shoot you. I'm not going to talk to you." And that's the time I realized I don't have to rush again to escape. So I waited for 3 more years until when I turned age 17. In 1996, I said, "It's time to get away from this situation." And I gave up. I said, "Whatever happens, let it happen." Because I said, I'm not a little boy anymore. I'm a grown-up man and I can depend myself. When I made my last decision to escape, God was really watching me. And I made my way successfully to another town where someone who was an Arab, still he's an Arab from northern Sudan, and he's Muslims. Very kind person, because there's nobody I trust there. I was just trying, and I asked him, "Please, could you help me?" And he agreed to help me. He hired me on his lorry and he took me to the town that he lived in. And I spent 2 months staying with him. And I remember when I first arrived with him in that town he lived in the end, he asked me to go with him to his house, and I refused. Because what was in my mind, I thought, this guy wants to slave me again. But he was backing me. He was backing me, and I see his tears dropping down. And then I trusted him and said, he wanted to help me. When I went with him, he talked to his wife and his 2 children to treat me as a family member. And I spent 2 months with him. They were very kind people until he paid for my bus ticket to make my way to the capital city of Sudan, Khartoum. And I went to Khartoum where I stayed in refugee camps with other South Sudanese. One of the guys I stayed with them is of the same tribes as I, the Dinka tribes. I'm not related to him, he's not related to me, but he's from the same village that I am from, and he knew my parents a long time ago. And he said, since the war break out, people separated, and he doesn't know where my parents are. Because I asked him about my parents, and he said he doesn't know, and he invited me to stay with him. Until when I actually been searching for my family, visiting all different refugee camps, and I couldn't find them. I told them, please help me to go to Egypt. Because I heard from him and from other South Sudanese, there are about 300 to 400 people live a month going to Cairo, Egypt, because when they go to Egypt, the UN help them to get visas to come to America, and some get visas from Canadian embassy and Australia too. And he actually helped me with my process on the black markets until I made my way from Sudan to Egypt in April 1998, taking a boat up Nile to Egypt on the Red Sea. I also remember when I first arrived in Egypt, in Cairo in particular, I didn't know anybody to stay with. All the people I knew who left from the refugee camps, I don't know where they live in Egypt. And I spent a few days at the Catholic Church in a place called Abbasiyya in Cairo, until one of the guys, he actually lived today in Fairfax, Virginia. His name Peter Tam. He lived in 2-bedroom apartments with 13 children, plus him and his wife. And he invited me to stay with them, because this guy used to be a leader in my town called Will County. And I went. I shared living room with 7 boys, plus myself, 8 of us in the living room, because you can imagine the condition that refugees are going through in Egypt. Because Egypt, like in America, you don't have money. There's nowhere you can live. Nobody can allow you to have an apartment for free. So I stayed there with them, and he sent me to the UN with one of his sons to fill out with the form for the UN to apply for the refugee status. And I applied, actually, and they asked me for an interview to come back. And when I told them this story, they accepted me. And they accepted me, and they asked me to go back, and they would call me again, which I waited for about a year and a few months. And then they called me and they said, you need to tell the story again to the INS from the US. That would guarantee that if you pass the interview with the INS from the US, you will be going to America. And I said, okay. And I retell the story the same as the last time when I told it to the UN people. And there's a time I get guaranteed by the INS from the US that I will be coming to America within a month. And indeed, I came to America within a month in August of 1999. I took off from Cairo International Airport to JFK in New York here, non-stop plane. And I actually found myself in Auburn, North Dakota, because that's where my sponsor is, Lutheran Social Services, who sponsored me. And I didn't even know anything. When I was traveling, I had no clue. I don't read, I had my ticket, and I had small black, this plastic bag, which said IOM or said something, I don't know. It said, this is a new immigrant, and I remember, I changed a lot now. I changed my plan a lot in Chicago, in Auburn, Chicago, and I lost there for 9 hours, I remember. I spent all days there when I first came because nobody was assisting me. They told me to find F3 because F3 is where my gate, where my plane is going to take off to Fargo. And I got there since 6 in the morning and I couldn't find anywhere to go. I'd just been going up and down an escalator because I don't speak the language and the airport is so big. Until finally when I walked the food court because I was thirsty and I was hungry and I was trying even to find someone to help me. And I just saw one African American is tall like me and is big, pushing a trash can, and I just handed my ticket to him. And he tried to ask me what I need, and I couldn't tell him. I just pointed the ticket to him to look at it, and he read it. And he knew that I was looking for F3. And when he took me there, when I went, they told me I missed my plane twice. Fargo. And the best thing they can do, they can connect me to Minneapolis, and from there, would make a choice to drive or wait for a plane. I said, no, I'm going to wait. What's the next one? They said, next one I'm going to leave late. And I waited for that one. Until when I got to Fargo, like 10 or 11 at night, there's a Somalian guy who's been waiting for me since 10 a.m. in the morning. He worked with the Lutheran Social Services. His name Ahmed. He said, Salam Alaikum, and I said, Alaikum Salam to him. And I was very excited. It's a greeting in Arabic. And I started to speak to him in Arabic. He said, no, I don't speak Arabic. I only know Salam Alaikum, that's it. So it was very disappointed too because I was trying to communicate with this guy. And of course, there's no way for me to communicate with him. He doesn't speak Arabic, and I don't speak English. So he took me to the apartment that Lutheran rented for me, quickly. He gave me the tour there, he left immediately because he was too tired. I couldn't see. And soon he left, I retook the tour by myself. I actually visited my bedroom again, and living room, and kitchen, and bathroom. And one thing I did, which is very important to tell you because I'm not embarrassed. I just actually stretched my arms and I took a deep breath and I said, wow, I am about to enjoy this freedom in America. Because for 10 years I never have my own place. I never done anything that I want to do on my own decision except what Jimas want me to do or his family. And I knew from that day that I'm going to be free. Nobody going to force me to do what I don't want to do. And I'm not going to sleep on the floor again. I had my bed, and I had my blanket. And I had my own kitchen where I could make a choice to cook kind of food I need. They're not going to force me to eat something I don't want to eat. This is all kind of thing that I was very excited about. But in that moment too, I remember what I've been going through for 10 years, which is the dream that I used to have. Because for 10 years I spent as a slave. I used to lie awake at night and wonder who's going to come and free me. And I know one thing I missed, actually, when I was telling the story, which I should have tell you in advance. There's a boy who I seen who lost his left leg because his master is very rich with the camels, and he forced him to tend hundreds of camels by himself. And one day he was sick, very sick, and he refused not to take care of the camels, and his master forced him to go. And he went and he left them there, and he came back. When he came back, he beat him, and then he kicked off his leg. And in my second attempt, my master took me to that house. He said, I want to show you something because that guy is a friend of his or one of the family members, I don't know. And I saw this boy. I talked to him in my native language. I asked him the reason why he lost his leg. He said, because I refused to do the work. And I'm warning you not to refuse again. Do whatever they tell you. I dropped the tears. And when my master saw me crying, he came and he said, shut up and let's go. I shut up and I went with him because I was very sorry to this young man. And I remember about him, I said, Barjuk, his name is Barjuk, first name and last name the same. Barjuk is still in my positions, and maybe he's not alive. Maybe his master killed him because he's not with it anymore. He doesn't do anything to his master. And I also remember a lot of boys who when I met two other boys too, and I told them, please, could we escape as a group? And they all refused. They said, no, no, we're not going to take the risk. If we get caught, they're going to kill us. Or maybe something will happen to us like what happened to Berto. So there are people who are still in my position, who still lie awake at night and wonder who's going to get my freedom. So this is the dream that come, out in my mind just in the very first day in the United States, before I even spent a night. And I promised myself that I hope one day I'm going to do something for those people who are still enslaved in Sudan. Of course, that time I wasn't aware about 27 million people estimate who are still held in slavery, worldwide. Except I didn't know when I'm going to do it and what I'm going to do to them. And I was there struggling in Fargo because I stuck for about 3 weeks too in a permit in Fargo. Because in orientation in Egypt, when I were about to come to America, they told us America is a strange language, a strange country, excuse me. Sometimes people can kill you for no reason. And sometimes, all strange things happen. So when you go, please be in your place, don't just go around a lot. So when I came, I stuck there in a permit because I was scared to go out. Number two, I didn't speak the language. Anyway, if I went out, there's no way for me to communicate with the people. And number three, nobody I could go with to help me see other stuff. I spent consecutive 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks even, I was struggling with the food, American food. I didn't like anything. Except I've been eating cookies a lot. People was very confused from the Lutheran Social Services. They come, they buy me fast food, they buy me hamburger from McDonald's, they buy me pizza. I say no, no, everything no. They buy me meat and chicken to cook by myself, and I didn't know how to cook, all those kind of stuff. I was really frustrated. And I used to complain that one of the number one thing I was complaining with, it was weather. I didn't like the weather then, of course. I was complaining about the weather a lot. And when this guy come to visit me sometime, I cried. When he was about to leave, I cried like a little baby. Because I know, he left again, and I didn't tell him what I didn't like. I was trying really to explain to him that I'm not happy. I want to be with other South Sudanese people, so I can be able to communicate with them. And also, I don't want to be alone again. This kind of thing that's were on my mind. And I also was trying to tell them that I want to go to a better place, that the weather is better than here. Until the people recognized that I wasn't happy, and they hired someone to speak Arabic from Iran, he's Kurdish. And this guy, when he came to work with the Lutheran Social Service, he come to me in my apartment and he said that Barry Nelson, he's the guy who sponsored me, said that I should talk to you, why you're going to be happy. And I said, you're not going to talk to me here. You take me to the offices and I'm going to talk to him their life and to you both. So he took me to the Lutheran office, and first I thanked the Lutheran people. I said, thank you for sponsoring me. I appreciate everything you've done, to help me come to the United States. But then I began complaining to them. I said, I'm not happy, I don't like this place, it's too cold. They were laughing, like where. And also I said to them, I'm alone, I don't speak the language, why did you guys give that to me? I want to be with other people that I talked about. I don't speak English. So they said, okay, they said in our state that has a lot of South Sudanese people. And they mentioned 3 states. They mentioned Kansas, they mentioned Iowa, they mentioned Texas, and then they mentioned Arizona. And they just asked me to pick one, and I said Iowa. I just said Iowa because I didn't do anything. Name Iowa sounded good to me, and I just said Iowa, but the weather was the same. It was funny. It was a blind choice, So I actually left Portugal on January 1st, 2000, and I moved to Ames, Iowa. But the good things, when I moved to Ames, Iowa, I immediately knew people there. People that we stayed together in Egypt, in the same building, and they actually welcomed me to stay with them. And I began working 2 jobs. The 5-year job in the same company that 10 of the same people who live in the same house work. And I started working in that meat company at night. And also I find another job, hotel, in the morning. And I was working 16 hours a day. And the reason I was working so hard is because I was 20 years of age and I never been to school. And I was really wanted to save up some money so I can be able to go to school. Until one day, I actually received a phone call from Dr. Charles Jacobs. Dr. Charles Jacobs is the president and co-founder of the American Anti-Slavery Groups, the organization that I work with today in Boston, Massachusetts. And he said that he heard about me from one of the guys who helped me in Egypt to fill out the form for the UNs. And he lived in Massachusetts, and he told Charles to invite me to come and tell the person the story. And I said to him, you know what, because he talked to the people that I stay with. Because I don't speak English, I said, please tell him I'm not willing to move anywhere else. This is the place I want to be. And because I don't want also to remember what happened to me. I just want to establish a new life here in a new world. But Charles didn't give up. Charles didn't give up. He'd been keep contacting. It took him 4 months. He'd been calling. He doesn't talk to me directly, but he talked to the family that I stay with. And they all would tell me the message. I ignore sometimes. I don't even respond to them. Until one day when he called and I heard it was him on the phone with the guy named Agwan, I said, please let me talk to you. And he said, what are you going to say? I said, you know what? He wanted to talk to me. Let me talk to him. I'm going to say what I know. When I was learning English first, I didn't learn it from the school though. I was learning from speaking with the people at work and at home too. I learned I because that's what I see a lot on TV. People say hi first and then they begin conversation. And I said hi to Charles, one word. And I said, do you have a number so I can call you back? And he said yes. So he left me a 800 number to me, and he hung up. And soon he hung up, I went to my room. And I asked myself why this guy never gave up. He'd been in contact with 4 months. What motivated him? And I immediately called him back and I said, please, let me tell you that I do not have a day off from work, from my 2 jobs. Because I work at night and then I came and spend 2 hours and go to another job immediately. And came back from that job and dress up, and go to another job. So I don't have day off and I don't have, extra times. So I'm going to tell people at my work that I will be going for the next 2 weeks. So expect me that I will be coming to visit you in the next 2 weeks to see what you want me for. And I come to Boston. I come to Boston 2 weeks later and I visit the American Anti-Slavery Group offices in downtown Boston where Charles Jacobs welcomed me from the airport and he took me to his office and I immediately saw the pictures. I saw the pictures that changed my mind immediately. And I asked him, that's the first question I asked him. I asked him where this picture was taken from and he said, we took this picture from Southern Sudan. He said that he worked with other Christian organizations called CSI, Christian Solidarity International, based in Switzerland. And he said that he went with Dr. John Abner, who is the head of CSI, Christian Solidarity International, to Southern Sudan to redeem slaves. That's another thing that the American Anti-Slavery Group used to do. And I can talk to you more about that when you're going to ask me a question later after my talk. So, and he told me a lot of things. He said, I read articles sometime in 1993 when I actually started these organizations in some magazines, And when I read article, I actually learned that there's slavery still going on in Sudan. And you can buy slave back in Sudan for $35 US, which is less than buying VCR in this country. And that's the time he actually began he started this organization on his own pocket, and he said, where these people are enslaved now is not far away from where my ancestors were being enslaved, because he's Jewish. He said, my people were enslaved in Egypt, and I should do something about it. He said that he worked with other Christian groups and Muslims, and they started American anti-slavery groups. And since then, he'd been working, he quit his job, he's a businessman, and I thanked Charles. I said, thank you, Charles, for what you have done, and what you are still doing. And he said, you know what, not only Sudan, there are a lot of people are enslaved around the world, 27 million people. And I'm not good at the math. I never actually made it in the math class before. I said 27 might be a lot, 27 millions. That's a lot of people. And I said even one person or two, it is a lot for me in particular, because I know the slavery. I've been there, I tested. Because when you are enslaved, you have no freedom. Your freedom is completely controlled by someone else. And I said for 10 years, I never done anything that I want to do. I never allowed to live my life the way I want to eat the food that I want to eat, and to enjoy everything that I want to enjoy. Never. I said, I just began enjoying everything that I missed it during the 10 years in captivity. And I said, if 27 million people are enslaved, why don't I do something to prevent that by happening to other people? I promised Charles that I'm going to be working with you, except I didn't know my position, what I'm going to be doing with him. And he was very excited, very, very exciting. I went back to Iowa and I quit my jobs immediately, and I moved to Boston since May of 2000. Until today, I'm working with American Anti-Slavery Group. I remember first time when I spoke out in Boston, I spoke out at a black church called Southern Baptist Church. And my story was covered by Boston Globe. And then the next 3 days, Charles talked to me while we were together in the office, and he said, you know what, you and I are going to be going to DC tomorrow to speak to the Congress. And I said to him, yes. It's funny because I wasn't even aware of what we're going to do, and where congressmen or Capitol Hill, I have no idea. I just said yes to Charles because my English was very, very limited, very poor. I missed a lot of things when he was talking. I just said yes. So we went there. We took a trip 3 days after my first speech at Southern Baptist Church in Massachusetts, and I found myself sitting in reserved seats with the Congress and Senate. People have a lot of respect to them today of what they have done to help my people. And I was asked to speak. There was a lot of people in Capitol Hill. And I was very, very nervous. And I will tell you why I was nervous. Not because I have never spoken in front of 500 to 600 to 700 people. I was nervous because of what can happen afterward. Because Sudanese government denied that there's not slavery in Sudan. That time in 2000, not now though. And I just stood up there and I said what I said. I couldn't remember anymore now. And when I came back, Charles arranged for the local school to invite me to speak. And I began to speak at middle school and high school and colleges and university in Massachusetts. And now, so far, I have been spoken to dozens of high school and colleges and universities across America. I have spoken to Christian groups at churches and also Jewish synagogues. I've done TV show, national TV show, local, and NPR and all that, because I really want to dedicate my life story, to remind those who believe slavery ended in 1865 in the United States that slavery is not history. Slavery is still alive, because in 1996, if you invited me, I would have come to this community and speak to you tonight. I was still trying my best to get away. And that's why I call myself lucky. I'm a lucky man. Because there are many in my country, around the world, who cannot be lucky enough like me to make their way to freedom. And that's why I turned to become a young abolitionist to fight for those who are still in my positions. So I spoke, and as I said, I even testified at the Foreign Relations Committee, was live broadcasting on C-SPAN. When I was speaking, I talked to Mrs. Jessie Helms and Sam Brown back from Kansas, and I visited the offices privately after that. I saw Jessie Helms dropping tears. And I said, you know, you're not crying because of my single story. There are many people in my country who cannot tell their stories to you. And I want you to help them because you are blessing. You are a blessing country. And you are blessing people. American people are blessing country. You know, blessing people, excuse me. I said that you have strong arms and a strong voice, and you should help my people. He said to me, you are right, Francis. We are going to do whatever, you know, to help young people. I hope he did. Maybe he did something. And the same day, I had an opportunity to meet with Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. We ran all these things, you know. We went to her State Department, and I visited her office. She said, thank you, Francis, for, you know, reminding us something we know. But we are too busy now. It was, something was going in Sierra Leone in West Africa, that time in 2000. And I thought I missed what she said. I said to Charles, that's what she said, or did I miss it? He said, you know, that's what she told you. And I said, why? Why should she ignore it? You know, what I just said. It's not important when I was telling her there are people enslaved in Sudan today and around the world. Why don't she do something about it? Because she just takes her state. Disappointed. She said the minutes are expired, and she left. You know, and I didn't give up because I knew people are not all the same, and I knew she wasn't only the leader in this country. I met others like Mr. Bush. You can disagree with me. I see a lot of time when I was watching TV during elections. You know, Bush is bad, Bush is good, Bush is bad. You know, but this man, I have more respect, and my people do, I believe, too. Not all the Sudanese people in general, but South Sudanese and Western Sudanese, too. Bush did help us. Since he stayed in the office, you know, he said that he will do whatever to help my people. He did. I met Bush twice. The first one, when he was sending a special envoy to Northern Sudan, from Missouri, John Danforth. And I met John, and he was talking, saying that please go, and came back. We're real sorry because they were trying to investigate this story. Because Sudan has been saying, no, it's not happening. We say it is happening. Slavery in particular. And that day, I had the opportunity to meet him, and also meeting with the new secretary at that time, Colin Powell. And I ran to Colin Powell. I didn't ask Mr. Bush any question. But I asked Colin Powell, I ran to him because I was standing between him and Mr. Bush. And I said, you have duty to help my people, to Colin Powell. I said, your people, your ancestors were enslaved in Africa. And this is your duty to help my people. Why African Americans are not doing anything about this. And why such a person like you, who is Secretary of State, is not doing something about it. And he said, we are beginning to do something now, and we will do something. You know, that's what I heard from him, and I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of Mr. Bush as well. And then when I was re-invited back to witness the Sudan Peace Act, the bill that recognizes there is slavery or promising Sudanese people that if they achieve the peace, they will get $300,000 million from the U.S. to rebuild the country. And I actually saw Mr. Bush speaking after he signed the bill, and I couldn't really control myself to stay on my chair. I just stood up quickly, you know, and after he finished, and I said, President Bush, I want to thank you. There was about 40 people, maybe, Congress and Senate, you know, and also and I and other 2 Sudanese people that I invited along. I said, I want to thank you on behalf of my people, entire South Sudanese, and Sudanese people. And also, I said to him that I want to thank you on behalf of all slaves, the 27 million people. And I mentioned to him that if the women and children knew today in Sudan that you signed a law for them, this sad face would light up with hope. I said, please don't allow my people to be killed by this enemy again, because 2 million people in Southern Sudan being killed by the Sudanese government, and thousands of South Sudanese are displaced from their land. And I was watching him looking on my eye deeply, and he came to me, touched me, he shook the hand with me, and I thought he's going to leave. He held my hand, he said, Francis, I want to thank you. I saw you twice here, and you are a great man. But I hope that one day you will be a leader for your people. He said, I want to say to you that it's an honor for me and American people, to help you, to help the Sudanese situation, and we are going to help. That's what I heard from President Bush. And after that, he was joking. He was joking with me, saying that maybe he could take me to basketball court one-on-one to beat me. That's nothing that he mentioned. Yeah, and I was very, very excited. I was very excited, and again, Bush did his job. He did his job because you might heard or might not heard that 2 months ago, there's a peace treaty signed between the South Sudanese and North Sudanese after 2 decades of conflict that caused life of 2 million people. And I'm saying that I'm not too excited, and my people are not too excited about that because we mistrust the Sudanese government, and particularly we mistrust the Arabs in the north. We are worried that they might change their minds anytime, and kill my people. And also, the reason we don't trust that, and I personally don't trust it, the peace treaty just signed between the South and North is because it can't be a peace in the country, in the same country while there's war going on in another part. In Darfur region, that's the Western Sudan, there's a war going on today, between Darfur and the Sudanese government. And these are black people like us. They are dying now, 1,000 people dying a month. And the Sudanese government wanted to have peace with us in the south. And that's why I say, we need full freedom. We need full freedom. We need all the Sudanese people in every corner of Sudan to be free, to be treated equally, and have the same right opportunities. And that's why I'm not too excited when people are celebrating in Massachusetts, South Sudanese who live there, and they asked me to speak on the peace celebration. I said, no, I'm not speaking. And they asked me why. I said, no, I'm not too excited about it. I can't lean back and say, we are free. This is not the final victory for all of us. And you should notice that. I told them I didn't speak because that's why I'm still fighting today. I shouldn't have just quit now. If what happened 2 months ago was a full freedom that actually, peace that I had confidence, and my family had confidence that we'll live peacefully with the Arabs, I would have quit this job and began my life privately, because there's a lot of things that I could do to myself. There's a lot of things that I could do to people who I'm related to. But since I came here in 1999, I've been working. I went to school once, and I will tell that a little bit before I actually turn it to you to ask the questions, because I need these young people to hear my experiences when I first went to school ever in my life in the United States, in American public school. So we still need more pressure on this government. We need more pressure because our brothers and sisters in Darfur are dying today, and we need them to be free also like us. And I ask you to write a letter to your congressmen and write a letter to President Bush, because he promised us that time when I talked to him, he said, we will make sure that, we stop this enemy from killing his own citizens. And I want to see him stopping the Sudanese government, allowing everyone in Sudan to live the way they want to live their lives. And particularly for us black Africans to live the way of our life as African people. So I think right now a lot of you already made tremendous contributions, and I hope that we continue fighting joining us, joining an organization like American Anti-Slavery Group. I saw a lot of people signing up here before because, if you sign up on that sign-up sheet, you will be on emailing list with us. With your 3 clicks of mouse, when you visit American Anti-Slavery website, iabolish.com, you will actually make a change, make a difference for someone's life. And I invite all of you, not only to visit American Anti-Slavery Group, but we have other organizations linked with us, and you can visit us. You can support like CSI, Christian Solidarity International, done tremendous jobs. Even though I criticize them sometimes about buying back slaves, which is something I don't like. They've done a lot of work by bringing, aids and some other stuff to people in Southern Sudan. So, to share with you about my experiences when I went to school after I moved to Boston, I went to a school called Boston Evening Academy. It was a small community, 250 students, not private, but I guess it's a poor school, where poor people or people who are less fortunate, goes there. And I went to that school. And they told me honestly, first time, that we do not have program for you. We don't teach ESL, English as second language, and we do not have unique people like you. All kids are American kids. And I heard the story about that school that said, this is school that accepted the kids who got kicked out from regular high schools, and they still give them a second chance to catch up. And I was the oldest kids to be with them. I was 21 years of age. And the kids ask me every day why I'm so tall, why I'm 21 years of age and still in high school, why I don't speak English very well, and why, all evening. I remember when I sit with them in the classroom, they move their chairs away from me, next to me. I didn't have a friend for 9 months in that school, to be honest with you. I was frustrated. I go home 0 every single evening even. I don't understand anything in the class. I don't understand the discussions when the teacher talks. I don't do my homework. They never asked me for my assignment because teacher told me we did not have program for you. And I said, I'm going to prove to these people that I'm a person who don't give up. I don't abandon things. And that's the person I am. That's why I made my way to freedom, to come to America. Because the person that I believe you can overcome. So I work hard. I buy myself because I was working with American Anti-Slavery Group. I have money. I was working a job that I got paid, not a job that I've been doing for 10 years but not paid. And I buy myself binders and folders. I put all my homework separately from each class, math and science, English and some others. And I said one day I'm going to give this homework back to my teachers individually in each class. I work hard until within 7 months I improve a little bit. And I began returning all the homeworks. And I remember I talked to one of my teachers because I can see from her eyes she wanted to help me, but there's no way she can help me. Her name is Michelle Gordon. I said to her, even though you didn't help me much, I want to thank you. I could see that you want to help me because sometimes when I leave, she comes and says, Francis, how are you doing? Are you learning? I said, yes. I just say yes. And she never looked at my papers. I don't write other things. I began returning and I said to my teacher, the individual said, I'm not making everyone feel bad. But I'm proving to each and every one of you that I believe I can overcome. Now I can able to do my homework. And if you give me homework, except I can't promise my math teacher because I'm terrible in the math. But I can promise every teacher that I can do my homework, not 100% like every kid, but at least I can do something. And I done. I spent about 1 year and 2 months in that school, and I was doing well. And some kids, I even beat them with a grade. I get A, and B sometimes. And kids said, how this guy learn so fast? And I said, because I was focusing a lot more than you are. And I was concentrating well because I want to achieve something. And that's why I'm here. I invited about 90 students to come to hear my talk in Harvard University when I was invited to speak in government school. When these kids come and they hear my talk after that, they all were apologizing to me. They said, we feel bad, we used to, asking you all these kind of questions, and I know you hate us. I said, no, don't say that. I don't believe in hatred. I never hate anybody. Even the guy who slept for 10 years, I don't hate him. I hope that he's okay. He's okay and he liked what he did and he's proud of it. Because I believe everyone has different beliefs. And I said, I don't believe in hatred because hatred is not the value of family because of all one family. I said to them that, the reason your obstacle before, you didn't know what happened to me. And I'm glad today you knew what happened to me. I said to them, I didn't cheat myself not to go to school. I just didn't have opportunity, and I'm glad that I catch up with you. And that's why I thank people of this country, people of the United States, and I thank this country from the bottom of my heart because they gave me a second chance in life to relive my dream again. And I see some kids with the tears. I had one of my friends who became, his name is Scott. He goes to Northeastern University, and I was speaking there last 2 weeks. I saw him. He's actually junior now at the university. He graduated from the school that I went to. He called the people that he knows in this university when I was there last time. And he said, this guy is an inspiring person. And he said, I have a lot of respect for him because he's the one of the guys who actually laughed aloud. When he see me, he laughed aloud and called the kid, come see him, come see him. And he became a friend to me. And I said, don't be embarrassed, let's be okay, because you didn't know anything. So I'm telling this story to encourage the young kids. I know some students are already advanced. I would talk to seniors, high school students, and there are college students here. But again, life is not destination, it's journey. You can fight for whatever you dream. And you should believe that one day you can overcome that. Because within a period of 5 years I've been in this country, I have done a lot in my life. Now, today I equal myself like each and every one of you here. I have big dreams still. Big dreams, even though today I do not have even high school diploma. Because I couldn't really continue to earn my high school diploma in that post-evening academy that I went to because I started working on my book, autobiography, Escape from Slavery, true story of my 10 years in captivity, my journey to freedom in America. And that's the time I actually left the school because I was working full-time with the organization, which sometimes I traveled to go to speak in some other places. So I want you to believe in your dream that you can do some things for yourself, and you can also do something for others. I wrote the book, and that book I wrote is telling the story of the 27 million people. Not just my people. And that's what I'm so proud of. And I believe I can even do more than that. And I'm still showing myself that, and I have confidence that one day I will have my high school diploma and I will have a degree and many. Because I'm not, ashamed that I'm 26. I just made my 26 years, the end of February, actually last month. And I believe that one day I will finish my studies. With people like you really inspired me and gave me confidence and courage to continue fighting. And that's why I'm asking you to help those too, because if these people are free, I think someone like me who really wanted to see those people who are still in my position are free can do something for itself. And because that's what I mentioned, I was testifying before the election committee to the Congress, saying to them that I'm not going to rest until I see my people are free. And the 27 million people are free. And indeed I am. I'm not going to rest until I see my people are free. That's why I said I can celebrate about the peace treaty just signed between the North and the South. Because I know there are people within the same country in Sudan are still not free. I thank you very, very much, because when I speak sometime, I'm not, as I apologize to you in advance today, when I began talking to you, I'm not normal. This is not my normal voice and energy that I have when I speak. I sometimes get very emotional because this is something that hurt me a lot. This is a story that we should actually publicize every single day in the front of every magazine and newspaper articles that we read daily. And yet we hear about it and ignore it, but we cannot ignore it. This is about human potentials. It's about potential for those slaves to be that all they can be, to be with their family, to go to school, to contribute to this society. And it's also potential for us to do whatever we can do to help them. And that's why I'm inviting you all to do what you can do, a thing of what you can do with the freedom that you have, as you're sitting here to comfort the freedom. Because there are people who are waiting for you to freedom. Because when I first come here, I ask myself, what is good my freedom if my people are still dying? What is good my freedom if my people are still enslaved? And I want you to ask yourself, and the same question, what is good your freedom if you don't use it? How about the people who are able to dream of freedom? And I know you will ask yourself that question. And I also know you will do something. I thank you once again very, very much for coming out at a very cold evening, and particularly for actually attending this important program. And I hope you will leave this gym with the message that you want to convey to others. And also knowing that you are going to do something as individual. Because again, indeed, everyone can really make a difference. And I want to thank again all the students work hard. I want to thank them too, those who helped me to sell my books and making everyone sign up for the sign-up sheets and all kind of things, and the parents and the teachers and everyone who come here. I can thank you enough, but again, simply I thank you all for coming here. I would like to invite each and every one of you for the question you might have for me. Please feel free, and I want to invite also young people to ask. But there's opportunity to ask whatever you want to know, because the story I told you, especially young people, the story I learned when I was 7, I've seen all kids. I asked one of the kids who was 6, just 1 year younger than me when I was taken to slavery. And please welcome you. Have a question, go ahead. Yes, ma'am. The question is if I ever heard anything about my parents. The answer is actually yes, no. Because I have a large family, big family. I haven't heard nothing about my stepmother, but I heard something about my biological family, parents, actually my mother, my father, and 2 sisters. Because Dr. Joe Abner, who worked with CSI Christian Solidarity International, when I first met him at a press conference in DC about 3 years ago, he told me that I'm going to be leaving to Europe next week, and I'm going to Sudan within the same month. And I would like to go to your village. And I said, please go. I gave him my parents' names, and except we don't know the address, we do not have an address. And he went to the area that I am from. And when he came back, he said he met one uncle who related to my stepmother's side, who told him that my mother, my father, and 2 sisters had been killed in the same day that I was captured, because soon my mother sent me to the markets, the militia came first to the village. And they put all the people in the big hut, and then they burned it. So my parents were killed, and that's why people, when I was in the marketplace talking, they saw smoke, and they pointed towards the village that we came from, was my parents were burning, in that smoke. And the same guy just met my oldest brother too, about 2.5 years ago in the army, Sudan People Liberation Army, the army who defending Southern Sudan. And we look alike, and he just met him by accident, and he made a phone call, a satellite phone, like 1 night Eastern Standard Time, and I was sleeping, and he left my cell phone saying that, Francis, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, your time, in daytime, you're going to be talking with your brother. I met your brother. And it was unbelievable. I actually talked about this surprising phone call on my book. And I actually waited for 1 o'clock. I said, why, John? I've been joking about my family. He's an old guy. He can't joke with me, about my family. He knew that seriously I was actually looking for my family. And I waited for that hour to come. And when he called, he said, Francis, you're about to talk to your brother now. I said, are you kidding me? He said, yes, I met your brother. Can you believe that? And he doesn't believe me too. I've been telling him and he doesn't believe. And when we said hi to each other, I couldn't recognize his voice in a way. He'd been asking me more than 10 times. Is it you, Pio? Pio is my African name, P-I-O-L. And I said, yes, it is me. He said, no. Are you alive? I said, yes, I am. Are you alive? So it was kind of funny though. And it was 5 minutes, very quick talk, because satellite phone costs a lot of money in Southern Sudan. John takes this with him because Southern Sudan is not a safe place, for its own safety. And then immediately I sent a letter to him with John, because John goes more than 5 times a year to Sudan, Southern Sudan in particular. And when he received my letter, I asked him to leave the army and go to Uganda or Kenya to apply for the refugee status and come to America. He said to me, I'm not going to leave the army. Because all the people that I knew, a lot of kids that I knew that are not alive, they've been killed. And I've been there for all this year. I never got injured, and nothing happened to me. And I believe that one day I will actually win the struggle for my people. And I said, do you believe in violence? Do you believe only by using violence the way you're going to win this struggle? And he said, yes. And I said, no. I am here in America, but I speak publicly at American public school. And I tell a story. Why don't you come and do the same thing as I? And he said, no, that's you, but I can't live like down here. I'm going to fight. So, again, as you can see, people are different. There are people who live in violence. There are people who don't believe in violence. I'm a person who doesn't believe in violence, because I believe that you can win what you want by using, by being a non-violent person. I'm not saying that I'm greater than Dr. King or, Gandhi. This inspired people that inspired when I read their books. And also when I met with this great God King, the Martin Luther King wife, and she presented a word to Dr. Charles Jacobs called Voice of Freedom Award. And she asked me a lot of questions about Dr. King, and I asked him, I never knew anything about him. And he took me to her hotel room. When we spent more time, and after I left from my hotel room, I actually watched the dream speech from Dr. King. And I was cheering. And then I immediately got a movie. Someone gave me a movie to watch, Root, about slavery in America. And I was crying during 3 hours. And I said, slavery, all the same. It doesn't matter when it happened and where it's happened, it's still the same, And I was watching these images, so sad, because it related to what happened to me. So again, the question for my family, I don't know the rest of the family member, but my mother, my father, and 2 sisters are not alive. They've been killed. My brother's still alive. He's still the member of the SPLA Sudan People Liberation Army. I hope, even though we're isolated, that one day we can reunite and rebuild our family again. And my stepmother, I have no idea, whether she's alive or not, with 4 children. Yes, in the corner there. Yes, go young man first.
The man who held you captive after he found out that you had escaped, he sent out soldiers looking for you?
Do the man who actually enslaved me still looking for me? That's what it is? Yes? I don't know. He might. He might be looking for me now, but again, there's no way he can find me now, except if he can come to the United States. I hope he actually discovered about this young boy who kept with his father for 10 years, who called him Abid, like slave. And I hope one day that he will discover my book and read it. And I hope he's happy when he did. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Welcome to Fort Ware, Auburn.
Thank you.
I congratulate Auburn for doing this. I'm a refugee worker in Fort Wayne. We have you outshine us tonight.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Bach, for coming. He's talking about just in one country in Africa is huge. We have several thousand African immigrants in northern Indiana, and they're a great pleasure. And also our senator is Senator Lugar, and I'm sure you've met Senator Lugar. And those of you engaged in the political side of this, please encourage you to get involved with Lugar and Phil Shaw at the Fort Wayne office, because they're very keen on local issues that you are trying to press. I have a question related to your knowledge of the role of China, Russia, and Europe in supporting the current regime in Sudan. And what do they do to support the violence that we will have to deal with someday? What is the role of China, Russia, and the EU?
Well, first of all, let me thank you too for your comments. And I know I forget your name, but you're the one I talked to. You said you work with what's the organization again?
Vision Family.
Yeah, Vision Family. Okay, I heard that a lot, and I told you before when I met you, and I thank you, for actually telling that quick story about Sudan. To the questions of Russia and China and other countries that you mentioned, I would really comment about that a lot, because as I'm here with you speaking, I just want to place everyone, I'm not a political expert, pendant. I am actually a survivor. I am a survivor speaking on my own experience, as an ex-slave, and I don't want to allude to what I had vast details. So I heard China and Russia, these are the two countries who has oil interests in my country, in Sudan, oil that underneath us in the south. And they are the member of the UN, and I was talking at the UN, I spoke at the UN a few times, except I never had a chance, or luck to meet with General Secretary Kofi Annan. But I met with other US officials there when I talked there since 2000. And I would ask the question why the UN is not doing enough about what's happening in my country. How many people do UN want to see die in Sudan in order for them to act? And I said, the UN were founded, to help this genocide that went on in my country. Why they abandoned my people? Why they're not saying anything? Why they're not calling what happening in Sudan is genocide? That's the question I asked. And when I heard from people who said, UN has become politicized, it's about who can board to who, because it has powerful allies who are a member of the UN, which is Russia and China. And those two countries, they have oil interests in my country. And that's why the Sudanese government is so strong, because the Chinese steal the oil, from us. They get $1 billion a day, which the Sudanese government buy the weapons to kill us. So again, I don't know how they help them. I wish I know, and I believe there are great people who can answer their questions with more details. But that's what I know. I'm glad you asked that question, even though I didn't give a great answer for it. But that's what I know.
Thank you, Francis. We're going to run out of time for questions. Could you briefly maybe share with us how, if we wanted to be involved, what we could do? What are some things that they could do?
Well, Mark, thank you. I actually always ask people, this is what I prefer to ask people like you to do, is to raise your voice. Make your voice heard. Take this message further as you can. Reach out to people who don't know us. Inspire them like I just talked to. Tell them we need to do something now, not tomorrow. And that's how I actually talk to people after my talk always. There's not many things that you can do as an individual at that side. You can visit the American Anti-Slave Group website. The website is here, iabolish.com. If you visit that website, you will learn, you will find a lot of options of what you can do as one person or two or many. And I'm inviting you to go there because that's the only way. I don't want to talk about other, stuff that are not in my interest. I know American Anti-Slave will give people a lot of stuff, financially and all that kind of stuff. But again, organization of American Anti-Slave cannot exist, if there's no fund for them. And I also thank you if you can help them, donate anything to them. And help organizations like CSI, Christian Solidarity International. And please, very importantly, write a letter to your congressmen, to President Bush, because we still have more work to do. And I know you will. Thank you very, very much. I'm sorry that we didn't have more time to continue our talk.
Real quickly before you take off, thank you again for coming. Our hope and our dream is that this conversation doesn't stop here, but it continues and goes on. So please continue to have these conversations in your homes and families and communities.